Our speaker tonight is, I don't think he would call himself a minister, but he has ministered, and just in the last 2 years alone, at over 40 American churches. And so the message that he brings is the truth from what you hear every day on CNN, the Communist News Network, and honestly, and in some cases, Fox. He brings the truth, ex-IDF Special Operations, and he owns the tour company, Leah. It's called Aliyah, that we are taking our tour to Israel, February 2nd through the 13th. You got four spots left. You can still get on that tour, February 2nd through the 13th. He will be our tour guide, and this will be my 11th tour over there. The second one that I'm leading, and I can tell you that there's no other guide that compares. And Billy Brim, she had run 75 tours over there, probably at least, and ran across Guy, and never used another tour guide after she ran across him. And he's just, I can honestly say he's probably the best friend, one of the best friends that I've ever had the honor of having. And he wouldn't call himself, but the Bible calls ministers gifts, okay? So I would like to humbly ask you to stand and just give him honor as I introduce to you Guy Leibovitz. Love you, brother. Yes.
Thank you for having me tonight. I'm just going to put some notes in front of me, if it's okay with you guys. Thank you for having me. You guys can say thank you, unless do I need to? Very good. We can put the first slide, and you'll see it behind me, and I'll explain. But when we came into church today, I saw the billboard, like the sign outside the church, and my name was there, like Guy Leibovitz. And first of all, thank you so much for the big respect and honor to be there. And my driver drives on the road and see my name. But if anyone would ask me, who are you, Guy? I can explain what I did with my life, but I really don't know who am I. Because my last name was given to me by a person that I never met. And it's not my father, it's my grandfather, that in the age of 17 was sent to Auschwitz-Birkenau. Somehow he survived, although the day that he came in, his entire family was killed by the Germans. And a few months after liberation, when he was very, very young, in his early 20s, he just died from broken heart. And my grandmother and my father, which was put in an orphanage house, and needed to survive somehow. And later on, my grandmother came to pick him up. But if anyone asks me, like, who's the Leibovitz family? I have no clue. I really have no clue. I just know that Jesus, that you guys praising over here, is from my hometown. I just know that he grew up in the Galilee, and then he did some journeys to Judea, where I'm living today. And today, people trying to convince you that the root, the only thing that I know for sure in life, that my family originated from there, it's not the truth. That's what people trying to convince people in the world, that we're not belong to this part of the world. And we're not supposed to be here, even. And that's the enemy. The enemy that over and over again tries to destroy the Jewish nation. But I know the end of the book. We'll win. Thank you. So we'll put the first slide. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but yeah. So on October 7th, Hamas did a terrible attack against Israel. With this huge curse, also blessed sins came. Although more than 1,200 people lost their lives on the same day, maybe it saved the lives of hundreds of thousands of Israelis, because that's made us do something. And I'll show you today what exactly we did and why it's fulfilled prophecy. So if we'll go to the next slide, and I'm doing it for the first time. As I'm moving, I'm learning with you, because God reveals and reveals and reveals. But up there, and I'll say it in Hebrew first, and then I'll read it in English, תהי אמת נהדרת ושר מרע משתולל וירא אדוני וירא בעיניו כי אין משפט. And truth is lacking, or they're absent of the truth. There is no truth. Isaiah the prophet tells us that the days before you'll say the return of the Messiah, second coming, for the Jews that's going to be the first coming, okay? We'll have time where we won't have truth in the world. Like, people will be so confused where they're going to adopt lies as truth, that they won't know what to do and how to do it. And that's a warning to every one of us. There was no justice. That's what's going to happen. And I'm feeling it, that we're living right now in those times. You know, like smart and educated and reasonable people suddenly carry with them so many nonsense which make no sense. 4 or 5 years ago, none of those people, and I'm talking about churches, would say stuff like that. Like, Israel, it's not Israel, so we're not obligated to them anymore. That stuff that happens every day now here in America. You guys can believe it? If we'll go to the next slide, the Lord said to Abraham, look around you, where you are, to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. All the land that you see, I will give to you and your offspring forever. If God said it to Abraham and gave him the promise, how come people saying today that we're not belongs to this place? It just make no sense in the Bible. So go and explain to me how a pastor of a church that reads from the Bible tells this church that this is lie. You see the absence of the truth? How people confused, and it's so crazy. Can we go to the next slide, please? וצבא תיתן על תמיד פשע ותשלח אמת ארצה ועשתה והצליחה. That comes from Daniel. And he cast the truth down to the ground. Again, the prophets telling us, and that's the Jewish tradition, that before the time of the Messiah, we won't have truth in the world anymore. If we'll go to the next slide, even in the New Testament, there is a kind of, not warnings, but kind of they're preparing us to the same time. For the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching, but having itching ears, they will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passions. You guys see what's happening? Like, when I came this morning to the United States, I was afraid. I wasn't sure who's going to be there on the booth when I'm coming in with my passport. I didn't know if the guy going to be hostile to me or not. And when we came to the hotel, and thank you for driving me today, Pastor, but when we came in, you said to me, Guy, you hold the most hated passport in the world, and that's true. It's unreal. People that were our friends yesterday, today turning their back to us. And sometimes they'll do it because of lack of knowledge. Sometimes they'll do it because that's the sound of the crowds outside. They're trying to appeal to those people. It happens in Europe. It happens today in the United States. And I'm not sure what's going to be the future. Maybe I'll need to keep it to the end, but I'll tell you now. You guys, now they're after us. But soon they're going to come after you. It's really behind the corner. The people that stand behind it, they know the truth. But they educate and sponsoring the education of millions. And they're getting into every house in America, every house in Europe. Everywhere you look, you see it. It's scary, but that's what's supposed to happen, and you'll see why. If we can go to the next slide. Every place wherein the soil of your foot shall tread shall be yours. From the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river of Euphrates, even into the Endurance Sea, shall be yours. Shall be your borders. I placed it over here because wherever I look, today you don't hear it much in America, but up to a few weeks ago you could hear it, but it's still in Europe. The most common slogan of the pro-Palestinian movement is from the river to the sea. Palestine shall be free. That's what they're shouting. Some of them know the Bible very well. From the river, the promise that God gave Abraham, the promise of the land, suddenly meaning nothing. And this is our promise. But soon you'll see how God acts against those people. And anything that those people trying to do, in reality, becomes to be the opposite. And I'll show it to you. Can we go to the next? Okay. You guys know what's the Talmud? For those that don't know what's the Talmud, I'll do it very, very, very shortly. We have the 5 books of Moses, and God gave Moses different commandments. You all know that. But many of those commandments, it's very hard for us to understand. We don't know what to do. And for that, God also explained Moses how to operate the Torah. Okay, like you have commands, that's how you're supposed to do it. So there is the written word and there is the oral command. Okay? It's went down from father to son from the time of Moses till the 2nd century AD. In the middle of the 2nd century AD, there is a war between the Jews and the Romans. Again, 62 years after the destruction of the temple. Judea destroyed. Almost 1 million Jews were killed. Unreal. There is no one anymore to pass down the knowledge to. And it wasn't allowed as well. The Romans taking Judea and changing the name of Judea to Palestina, trying to make the Jews forget about their homeland, but also trying to make people think the Jews have nothing to do there. Jews were forbidden from Judea for 300 years. But there is one rabbi that hid somewhere and said, okay, now we have to preserve everything that God gave to us. So they went down and wrote a book, 6-volume book. They named it the Mishnah. And then they wrote another book, and they named it the Talmud. So basically, the Talmud preserves our most intimate and secret and unique secrets that explaining the behind the scenes of the Torah. And Jews study those books all of their lives. And the Talmud tells us that in the footsteps of Messiah, truth will be absent. Now, probably you guys don't understand what's footsteps of Messiah. For us, footsteps of Messiah, it's the days that would come before the arrival of the Messiah. Now, just for you to know, the Jewish world today divided into the ultra-religious Jews and the rest of the Jews. The ultra-religious Jews saying, no, we need to wait for the Messiah, and only when Messiah shows himself up, then we'll have a Jewish state. Then we'll have everything that you see today. In the other hand, the majority of the Jews saying something else. We're saying that we need to do everything in our power to prepare everything to Messiah. Because the Messiah is here somewhere. And this is his footsteps. He's going to come any second now. Who knows? If you'll talk with those Jews, they'll tell you the Messiah is somewhere around you right now. We just don't know. He's ready to show himself up, but we need to do it. So that's the days before Messiah. And those are the Jews. It doesn't come from the church. It comes from Judaism. Before the days of Messiah, we won't have truth in the world. People will be so confused where they're going to turn one against another. Look, I was standing over here a year and a half ago, and I told you, the enemies of America understood something really crucial for them after 9/11. They understood that they cannot take America down with the sword. They cannot fight you. You guys are too powerful. No one can fight you. So they decided to penetrate in and to invest a lot of money, educating your kids, buying politicians, promoting their agenda, taking the truth away from people and destroy America from the inside, making you destroy yourself. They don't need to fight you. You're going to do the job for them. And that's what those people are trying to do. Okay? Who would believe 20 years ago that in families in America, people will divorce because they don't agree on political agenda? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to destroy you from the inside. And that's exactly that. We're in days of Messiah. A Jew tell you. A Jew from Israel tells you that we're in days of Messiah. It's all going to happen soon. And see what happened. Let's go to the next slideshow. You guys, the truth. A picture from Gaza. People begging for food. They telling you that there is famine and there is hunger in Gaza. And there is. I'm not going to hide it. But not because of Israel. In Gaza today, there is a little bit more than 2 million people. In the past 2 years, with your help and the help of other countries and Israel provided more than 200 million tons of supply. It's 1 million tons of supply per soul. So where is the food? Where is all of the supply? In areas which are outside the Hamas control, there is everything. But when it comes to the Hamas control, they steal in everything. It's too much for them to use. They don't need so much. But they making their own people starving. They want people like you to see those pictures and think to yourself, look what those cruel Israelis doing to them. You know, a picture like that, it's better for them than 10,000 pictures of dead Israelis. Because no one goes to demonstrate for dead Israelis. But people go into the streets without knowing even why for those people. But I want to show you something. There is something weird over there, no? Well, what do you see weird in the picture? Check out up there. If there is no food in Gaza, how come half of them having brand new cooking pots and pans? Well, they went to Walmart and bought some stuff. You know, let's go to the next slideshow. Yeah. In the past, and soon we'll get back to the picture. In the past 2 years, the Security Council of the UN had 60 meetings about Israel, 60 meetings about the conflict in Gaza. In Sudan, in the past year and a half, like 2 years, 24 million people suffering from food insecurity. There is war in Sudan. 2 weeks ago, in one day, 2,000 people were executed. Non-Arab tribes. Every day, hundreds of people dying. You know, and please check everything that I'm sharing with you. Just Google satellite pictures from Darfur. You can see huge areas. It's look like a kind of lake of blood that satellite takes. How come no one sent supply over there? How come no one sent to stop those people that persecuting the non-Muslims? You guys, people dying over there like flies. The UN does nothing. Let's go to the next one. South Sudan, 7.5 million people severely hungry. 7 meetings. Let's go to the next one. Okay, Congo, 28 million people suffering from severe hunger. 5 million kids over there are at risk of life. You know, you see pictures from there, it's look horrible. One meeting, they send in zero supply to those places. Let's check the other. Myanmar, 6.5 million people suffering from hunger. 1 meeting in 2 years. Next, please. Ethiopia, 10 million people suffering from hunger. 1 meeting only. You guys can see the hypocrisy? Let's go next. Afghanistan. And it goes and goes and goes and goes. Let's go to the next slideshow. You'll be in shock now. You remember the picture before? Let me move for you to see. That's how they're doing it. The guy just didn't know. They staging everything. Again, I'm not saying that people weren't hungry over there, okay, under Hamas, because they're suffering greatly. And Jesus says, love your enemy. In this stage in life, I cannot love them, but I don't hate them. I pray for them. I pray for those people to find the true God, not the one that they're following, because that's, at least for me, not the true living God. But I do pray for them. But that's what they do for you, not you, but people over here to hate us and go against us and then go against you. They bring in kids, they bring in people, they give in them pens. Sometimes they don't even realize that those are brand new pens, okay? They dressing them up. There is makeup department. And now they're taking pictures. Now this guy have a vest and it says journalist. You guys want to see who's this guy? Let's go to the next slideshow. That's how it's looked like. And the lady over there, she's the producer, by the way. Okay, they're producing everything during the war. Okay? You guys ever ask yourself how exactly they know where to put the camera when we bomb in their buildings? How? How they put in the camera, boom, the building falls. Because when the Israeli army attack, first of all, we give in warnings. It can be pamphlets, it can be phone calls, it can be sending a person to the same house, letting them know that in 5 minutes they're about to bomb their house. And you guys, please check everything that I'm sharing with you today, okay? And correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, hostages that came back from captivity testify that their kidnapper moved them a few times from place to place because they got warnings that the building is about to be attacked. 65,000 people lost their lives in Gaza. Let's say that half of them are terrorists. And the other half are civilians, and we admit it, okay? But we also admit that we never meant to target those people. We gave them enough warnings, and reasonable people would go out of those buildings. But for them, there is no value for life. It's all sacrifice. No worry, the guy gonna die, he'll be with his God in heaven. That's what they're teaching their kids from the age of 0, that the purpose of life is death. Opposite than you. Okay? Death is not the purpose of life. And it's horrible to see what happens over there. And so this is the press, the free press, the ones that supposed to report, you know, to be objective. Can we see the next slide, please? That's the guy. That's what he put on his Facebook page, because I took it out of his Facebook page. The subjective journalists, like many others, are pro-Palestinian activists that praying day and night to the destruction of the state of Israel. I'm not sure if you guys following the news from England, but the chairman of the BBC, you saw that? Yesterday needed to resign, admitting that the BBC published lies against Israel during the war. What they don't understand is that the damage, it's not in Israel. The damage is in their own country because it's making people do crazy stuff against themselves. You know, they're undermining everything that they live in. The most basic kind of foundations of society, of Western society. They go out and they're now puppets in the hands of those terrorists without even knowing so. That's how the enemy works. That's how he works on people. Let's go to the next slideshow, please. This is a horrible picture. Again, I want to overrule the claim that there is starvation by Israel as a tool to punish the Palestinians. On the right over there, you can see an Israeli hostage. His name was Eviatar David, still is. He was released 2.5 weeks ago from captivity. The Hamas starved the hostages. They gave them half a pita. Those of you that came to Israel know what's pita bread. So half a pita a day, and not every day. In the Holocaust, the Jews got 148 calories a day. Those people got less. On the right, those are 3 terrorists that came out of a tunnel and they were captured. This picture was taken only 1.5 months ago. See the bellies over there? The fat on their hands? That's not how hungry people are supposed to look like. Those are the ones that starving their own people. And this is the truth. That's the truth. Unfortunately, that's something that the communist network, the communist news network would never report. And even when they're reporting, when they find out that it's not the truth, they're going to correct themselves in the very last page of the newspaper that they'll never print, okay? So that's what usually they do. Can we go to the next slideshow? Wow, that's an amazing story. And that can teach you a bit of why we'll win. Story of courageous people, of deep faith and creativity. Those are, I didn't want to put their pictures of those soldiers, because later on, when they traveling abroad, there is people that chasing those people for protecting their country. Seriously, there is people that waiting in different places, airports, and waiting to see who came from Israel, and they comparing like pictures with different programs today, like softwares. You can use your cell phones just like that, hold it like that, have people going in front of you, and if the guy's wanted, immediately you'll know. So that's what they do. But those are 7 out of 10 female soldiers of the Israeli army. 10 or 15 years ago, few ladies, few women, young adult, appealed to the Supreme Court in Israel, asking the Supreme Court to force the Israeli army to recruit women to combat units. Now, the Israeli army have no problems with that. They prefer not to discriminate no one. But it's costing a lot of money that we don't have to build different facilities or to adjust different equipment to 2 different genders. Because those are young people. They're 18 to 21. And to put men and women for 3-4 weeks in one tank, with all of the hormones and what they know and stuff, it's not healthy to the army and not to the people. So they have to separate them. So the Supreme Court now forced the army to take women to combat units. And the army decided to build and to experiment women in tanks. The only place in the world where you have combat female soldiers in tanks. But they decided to send them to places that no one comes, okay? Like far away in the desert, you can be by yourself. If someone wants to commit suicide over there, okay, in this place, you lie on the road waiting for someone to run you down. 4 weeks later, you die from starvation. Okay, like it's really nowhere. So they placed those ladies over there. And then October 7th happens. It's about 50 miles out of Gaza. The lady over there in the middle with the V shape, with her hand, hearing the walkie-talkie, what happens in Gaza. The hour is 7 o'clock in the morning, half an hour after the attack. She decided against their orders to take 2 tanks and another vehicle to drive on roads which will send her for sure to prison, because she just destroyed a very expensive road, and to drive as fast as she can to Gaza. And those 10 ladies over here, it's not all of them, but those ladies over here, fighting alone for hours, killing many terrorists and saving a full kibbutz. No one was killed over there. Those are the faces that bring in victory. Because what the enemy don't understand is we're there to stay, because it's part of the godly plan. And he blesses his people with the ability to defeat the enemy, and also bless our friends to support us. Let's go over to the next slideshow. Okay, this guy, Rabbi Shlomo Zalman, known to be as the Gaon Mivilna. Gaon is the genius. The guy was an outstanding person. If this guy would live today, he would win a Nobel Prize for something. I'm not sure what. But once in every generation, someone in this level and deep understanding of everything comes to the world. Like truly a godly gift. So this guy, and we can go to the next, it's 200 years ago, lived in the 18th century, as you can see. And he reads the Bible. One of the things that the guy that actually changes it in Judaism is the understanding of who's the Messiah and when the Messiah is going to come. In Judaism, there is 2 types of Messiah. Messiah, the son of Joseph, and Messiah, the son of David. The first Messiah is the son of Joseph. And this Messiah is supposed to suffer greatly and die. Okay? And then the second Messiah will show up. So we have 2 separate people. This guy says, no. This is the same person. And I'll tell you exactly, that's what he says, when the end will come. When he's saying when the end is come, when the time of Messiah will come. Now, let's go to the truth and the light and darkness. Anyhow, let's go to the next slideshow. Okay. According to the Jewish calendar, we're in the year of 5786. Now, every millennium represents something. 6 millennium, that's going to be the reign of Messiah. That's going to be the sabbatical kind of years. Now, what I'm sharing with you, it's kind of a consensus in Judaism, okay, among the religious Jews. Like, unfortunately, most Israelis don't know the Bible, but that's what Jews thinking. And he's saying that the times that are going to come before the 6th millennium going to be the footsteps of Messiah. Both times of darkness and awakening, preparing to the 7th millennium. So this guy lives 200 years ago. But based on what? Like how exactly the guy know that it's going to happen? So he takes something that King Solomon wrote and he breaks it down to pieces. And I'll show you now, you guys. And if you go out confused, I'll make sure to kind of fix it up in your mind. Let's go to the next slideshow. Okay, he brought me out by the way of the north gate. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll get back to the rabbi in 1 second, just to show you something that's going to prove you that we're in those times. Okay, he brought me out by the way of the north gate and led me around on the outside to the other gateway that faces east, and there was water running out, running on the right side. Now, you guys, this comes from Ezekiel 47. Ezekiel 47, it's basically the day of Messiah, because we put in together two different prophecies, Zechariah 14 and Ezekiel 47. What happened is, because of our humanity, we always need a concept of time that doesn't exist in the godly kingdom. God is above time. Okay, it's kind of a different dimension that we humans don't understand and we don't know. And therefore, we always count in. Okay, like it's have to be one next to another. Like now it's the beginning, that's the middle, and that's the end. But this rabbi says no. It's all relativity. The way that we look at the prophecy is wrong. Instead of looking at those prophecies like that, we need to look at that like that. And then there is no time. Which means that those prophecies can fulfill not in the same time, but it can kind of overlap. Okay? One can lead to another, which the Bible supports. But sometimes it's in the same time. We just don't see it and don't understand, because one pushes the other. Now, I want to show you something from a month ago. I placed it on my Facebook page. It's a short video. Some of you maybe watched it. But it fulfills the very beginning, it's verse 2, of Ezekiel 47. See what I saw a month ago in Jerusalem. Let's watch the next. Okay, this is a video of the East Gate. When you faced east, the right side is to your left, okay? So the right gate. Look up there. You guys see the water dripping from the gate? It's unreal. You guys, check it out. Water coming from the gate. Now, it's interesting. Ezekiel speaks about river of water. But if you'll read the prophecy from the beginning, step by step, you'll see that Ezekiel describing at the beginning like drops of water. And then he says that the water is going to come up to your knees. And from there to your hip. And then it's going to cover you up. Which means that it's going to be in stages. But that's the very beginning. And this is the proof that we're in days of Messiah now. It's question of time. Let's go over to the next slideshow. Okay. This, you guys know where it comes from? It's the very last kind of, not chapter, but a time to love, a time to hate, a time to war, and time of peace. 28 times it says time and time, okay? Now, if you guys going to take the 6,000 years, the 6 millenniums, and divide it to 28 times, you'll find something amazing. Let's go to the next slideshow, because I did the math for you. You know, like 6,000 divided by 28 equals to 214.2857 years at each time. Now, it's not me. It's the rabbi from 200 years ago. So according to him, every 214 years, point some years, we're switching over from era to era, from time to time, okay? Now, if you'll take each time, it's 214 years, and add 104 days for the dot, something crazy comes out. Let's go to the next slideshow. Okay. Again, it's confusing, but I'll try to help you. Okay? We count in 27 times, because we're in year 5786 now. Last year, it was 84. The number 5785.714 represent a point within the Hebrew year 5785, Rosh Hashanah, Okay, so that's September of 2024. So it's my mistake. It's 5785, not 4. September of 24. And if you add in this point some days, it's going to take you to Tammuz, June of 2025. Now, why is it so crucial? Because the day that we attacked in Iran, which is June 12th or 13th, okay, 2025, it's exactly the change of the era that this rabbi basically predicted. Let me explain again, because I see some confused faces over here. We have different eras, okay? And the last two eras are time for war and time for peace. Now, it's not necessarily the time for peace, it's from the beginning of the era. It can be leading you to the end of this era, which means the new millennium. And when you do the calculation of every era, and it's not me again, it's him. I wish I had the ability to understand it 250 years ago. It's taken you to the day that the war between Israel and Iran broke out in June of 2025. And the same day that we attacked Iran, we didn't know that. It came after. It's the day that the new era begins, the very last era before the new millennium, which brings the Prince of Peace. So, and this rabbi predicted it 200 years ago, and it's unreal. Let's go over to the next slideshow, please. Okay. Over here, I calculated it for you. So, 71.4% of the year, and average of every year. I need to explain again. In Judaism, okay, we have in a lunar kind of a calendar. So we're losing 11 days every year. And therefore, we need to gain it back. We need to fix our calendar once every 3 or 4 years. Once every 3 or 4 years, we'll have another month to our year. And in a cycle of 19 years, we'll have 7 extra months in chosen years, okay? So therefore, if you do the average of 19 years divided to what we're adding to the year, it's taking you to 354 days a year. You guys are okay? Excellent. So if you're following the Jewish kind of year, and it's taking you to 354 days a year, multiply 0.714, which is the extra time of the year, it's giving you 253 days, okay? And 253 days after First Tishrei, it's Rosh Hashanah, taking you again to the same day in June that the war broke out. So no matter how you check it, from each direction, it's taking you to the same exact day that the new era that King Solomon predicted begins. What I'm trying to tell you right now, you guys, we're in special days. And that's the prophecy. And no one can stop it. You remember, I began this presentation telling you that the attack by the Hamas, the Palestinians, on October 7th was a disaster, a curse, but also a bless. This attack leads us, Israel, to destroy the Hezbollah, to destroy Syria, and to destroy Iran, but not completely. They are the only ones that we didn't destroy it completely. We were almost there, and we were stopped by America. The one that stopped us was President Trump. Now, I do believe with all of my heart that God uses him. He's a tool by God. And I do believe, I know maybe to my friends it's going to sound crazy, I do believe that Iran couldn't be destroyed yet, because they have a very important role in the war of Gog and Magog, which is Ezekiel 38. And again, those of you that are going to come and claim, but we just showed us Ezekiel 47. You guys, in the godly kingdom, there is no time. It's above time. We just look at things in their wrong view. You need to kind of turn over. When you read the Bible, make it stand. Okay, I'm not sure. But this is the beginning. And let's go to the next slideshow. And you guys can press it twice more. Another one. Exactly what I told you. We fought, I forgot to mention, also Yemen. Okay, we fought them. Yemen, it's a crazy story. Wow, that's really crazy. The Emirates and Saudi Arabia fighting the Houthis in Yemen for almost 10, if not 15 years. They can fight as much as they want. There is oil over there. They have tons of money. They don't care. But 3 years ago, under Biden, they understood that it's a waste of time, because it's going to be impossible with those Houthis. Like, they hide in Togo, they're living their life in a different way, and they have great support from Iran. So they gave up and did agreement with them. So Saudi Arabia and the Emirates surrender themselves to the Houthis. Just let's do peace and let's kind of be good neighbors. But the Houthis attacked Israel. And somehow, and I'm not sure exactly how we did it, we were managing to destroy almost all of their leadership, which is unheard of. Maybe for some of you it sounds like something easy because you launch a rocket, but it's not so simple. Those people, there is no intelligence about them. No one knows they are ghosts. And we targeted them. Thank you, God. And then we destroyed the Hezbollah and we destroyed Syria. And from there, we went to attack Iran. Can we go? Now, I'm saying attacking Iran, it's not so simple. Iran, distance from Israel, it's about 1,000 miles. For us, it's a lot. A fighter jet cannot fly such a long distance. You have to fly the fighter jet. You have to fuel it on the way over enemy territories. But without October 7th, we could never do it. Maybe you could, I'm not sure, but it would be very, very difficult. Because without us taking over and destroying the entire Syrian army and taking over their airspace, we couldn't fuel our fighter jets in air. This was the only way to do it. If we could, we would attack Iran 10 years ago. But this was the obstacle that the Palestinians solved for us. Because without October 7th, most likely that the world would never allow us to take out our enemies. And thank you, God. And I'm so sorry to say it, because 1,200 and some Israelis paid a heavy price on the same day for us to have the opportunity to destroy our enemies. And your enemies, those people praying every day to the destruction of America. 5 times a day. Let's go forward, and I'll share something. Okay, and again, to the right, this is the chief of staff. His name was Herzi Halevi. I know him. He's a great guy, a very tragic kind of character. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, being the chief of staff. He inherited something from his the former chief of staff, and he was there to command over the army in this attack, because bad things happen on the same day. But when he came to power, he says, okay, the way we're dealing with Iran is wrong. We cannot let the Mossad is the Israeli Secret Services, deal with them alone. We have to change the way we approaching the problem. We need to be more courageous, like Gideon. And if you want to take someone down, let's do it like King David. One stone in the forehead and they'll fall. Now, one stone in the forehead means to go deep into Iran and to destroy their leadership. And maybe not the Ayatollah, because the bosses up here in Washington didn't allow us to do it. But to destroy the commanders of the army and everything. And the guy over there to the left, Eyal Zamir, is the current chief of staff in Israel. In between, that's the deputy. The deputy says something very, very simple. Okay, we need to learn how those people are operating. And suddenly they noticed that each time that the Israeli Air Force does any reconnaissance or attack in Syria, immediately the commanders of the Iranian airport assembling in one building in Tehran. So they're beginning to test it. They send in fighter jets towards the border between Syria and Iran or Iraq. And they see how people, like the commanders over there, assemble in the same building. And then they decided to trick them. Okay? They decided to send fighter jets. It's the day of the attack. Visible to the Iranians from one direction. Having the entire command assembled in the same building. And then from the other side, they sent fighter jets deep into Tehran to destroy those commanders. Crazy success. Now, yeah, it's amazing. Now, the Iranians did 2 mistakes. Actually, 3 mistakes. One with Hassan Nasrallah. You guys know who's Hassan Nasrallah? He's the head of the Hezbollah. Hassan Nasrallah, which is a puppet of the Iranians, did 2 mistakes in his life. One, not attacking Israel on October 7th. And second, attacking Israel on October 8th. Okay? Because that's led us to destroy him. And then the Iranians decided to react. By doing so, they revealed to us and to you a lot of their secrets, where exactly they're storing their missiles, how exactly they're operating, because their tool against us is just launching very heavy missiles. Those are ballistic missiles. And they're using 2 different ballistic missiles. One, which have solid fuel, okay, which you can go out and launch. But maintenance, it's not their hard side, a strong side in Iran, which means that half of those missiles won't make it over to Israel. And we saw it in the 2 attacks. And another missiles which they need to fuel, but it's very, very dangerous, and it takes hours. You guys know why it's taking hours to fuel those missiles? Anyone? Because you need to fuel it with fuel and also with oxygen. Those missiles are ballistic missiles, and they're launching them out to space. And without oxygen, the engine cannot work. But it's very, very sensitive. It can explode while fueling the missile. And therefore, it takes hours, and they're exposing themselves, which allowed us, on the day of the attack, to destroy those missiles in ground. I'm not sure if you remember, but thank you, God. Thank you for what you did to us. It's not us. I'm saying us. It's not us, you guys. It's the God of Israel. Because there is no way to explain it. There is no way to explain it. And if we'll go to the next slideshow, okay? Now I'll explain how we did it, okay? Israel don't have many planes. And there is some unique planes that we really needed to have, but under different administrations, we couldn't get those planes. Some of them are, this is a horse, like a strong, maybe a donkey of the American Air Force. I'm saying a donkey because that's an animal that can work. That's an F-15, okay? And that's a double-seated F-16, which are more rare, at least in Israel. America gave us 7 planes a few years ago as parts, to kind of assemble those planes to parts and then support our maintenance team fixing our F-16s. F-16, it's a plane that they produced 40 or 50 years ago. But nothing can carry so much ammunition like this plane, and it flies far. So believe it or not, 7 planes, I think that it's a godly number. We took the planes, and instead of taking those planes to parts, we took them to parts and we rebuilt those planes again, which was a huge force in the attack in Iran. But see the next picture. That's the F-35. This picture is unheard of. You guys know why? Because the F-35 have ability to avoid radar. But if you put in anything on the wings, that's it. They can see you. So we decided to take the F-35 and to make some changes against the manufacturer recommended, okay? Because we understood that if we're taking out all of their radar stations and all of the Syrian anti-missile kind of systems, it says 300 and S-400, will have open sky. And if we're controlling the sky, why do you need to hide yourself? You have a bunch of planes that are doing nothing. So, and today, by the way, you guys having the same ability today, because they copied everything that we did and they did it. So this is also one of the secrets. And that's how we took out Iran. 72 hours after the beginning of the war, we controlled their sky, okay? Which is crazy. The Iranians launched few hundred rockets to Israel and few thousand drones to Israel, but thank you God, very few people were injured and only 28 people lost their lives, mainly because they didn't listen to the instructions, okay? Let's go to the next slideshow, and now I'll show you how we did it. So this is a video. See, they sent troops, and that's the David slingshot. First of all, to take out their command, kind of the command control. Everything that you see over there in colors, those are anti-craft missile systems or missiles that are about to launch into Israel. So everything over there that you see in color was taken out in the very few hours of the attack. It's, you guys, no one believed that anyone can do it against Iran. Like, and what you see over here, it's a different kind of video. You can see how we're destroying missiles in ground. But the next video going to be more interesting. Okay, I'll wait for it. This was taken not during the attack in June, but a few months before. I'm not sure if you remember, but the Iranians launched in April, and then again in, I think that October or the end of September, before the final hour tour, rockets to Israel. And Israel decided to react. Can we go back to the video? The next one, like the one with the missiles. We decided to test our systems against them. And if we'll see it again, okay, let's play it. From distance, we took out some of their systems. By doing so, we revealed a technology that no one knew that we have, but we had no choice but to use it, and that's launching ballistic missiles from fighter jets. You need to understand something. When you launch ballistic missile, it costs a lot of money, and not necessarily the missile is going to find the address. There is a lot of problems in between. Second of all, there is a lot of maintenance and storage. You need to have a very big missile for a lot of fuel. But on the other hand, if you'll take this ballistic missile on planes closer to your target and then you launch the missile. There is no system in the world, except of American systems, by the way, that can detect those missiles, because they see them only in space and not when you're launching it. As far as the enemy, that's a plane. Okay, they know nothing, they're blind. And that's something that we revealed. Now, where is the problem? And we'll talk about that in the podcast, the final hour podcast. The problem is that the enemy is sitting down and learning everything. Chinese, Iranians, the Turkish, and the Russians. Okay? Those 4 countries are right now preparing everything to the next round. And the next round, it's the war of Gog and Magog. And Pastor Jim, I'm planning to prove it in the podcast that we're going to record tomorrow. And when God willing, it's going to happen soon. Because the Messiah is going to come, you guys. It's all a question of time. Can we go to the next slideshow? The very, very final one with the final hour. It's going to come in a second. You guys, we're planning a trip to Israel. We have 4 last spots. 4. And I want to say something to those that already signed up. Okay? Thank you so much for your faith and your support. Most of those people signed up during the war. And I want to thank you for your support. Pastor Jim, I want to thank you for sending a group of people to Israel a few months ago during the war. You know, you're sending people to a war zone, and they're under your umbrella. And I want to thank you for your faith. Seriously, I want to thank you for your faith and your support in our nation. I want to thank you, and I'm saying it to everyone over here, for being our shield. Because you're standing against those that hating us and wishing for our destruction. And you do something that people didn't do for 2,000 years. Being our shield, standing for the nation of Israel. And for that, God will bless you big time. Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you. If any one of you have any questions, I would love to answer. And if not, thank you so much for hosting me. Pastor? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Guy.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming. I want to make sure, do you understand that rabbi 200 years ago called the date of the day that they would bomb Iran? Did you guys get that? From all those numbers added up, part of what he was saying is he called that date 200 years ago. And that's just the beginning, if you understood.
Yeah, for him, that's the beginning of the era.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he wanted to say, that's the beginning of the era before the time of Messiah.
Yes. So I wanted to make sure that you got that. All those numbers that were added up, it almost sounds like, Daniel 10, Daniel 9. But listen, it's been such an honor. It's an honor, and we're always going to have you back, and you're going to see things and hear things from him that you'll never hear anywhere else. You'll never hear it anywhere else. It'll always be new. It's never the same message. And he'll be back. And remember, there's 4 spots left on the Final Hour Podcast Israel Tour. Thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate you. God bless you.